A ranger, park ranger, park warden, or forest ranger is a person entrusted with protecting and preserving parklands, national, state, provincial, or local parks. Parks may be broadly defined by some systems in this context and include protected culturally or historically important built environments, and is not limited to the natural environment. Different countries use different names for the position. Warden is the favored term in Canada, Ireland, and the United Kingdom. Within the United States, the National Park Service refers to the position as a park ranger. The U.S. Forest Service refers to the position as a forest ranger. Other countries use the term park warden or game warden to describe this occupation. The profession includes a number of disciplines and specializations, and park rangers are often required to be proficient in more than one. In medieval England, rangers, originally called under-foresters, were the most junior officials employed to range through the countryside enforcing the forest law imposed by William the Conqueror to protect the wort and venison. Their duties were originally confined to seeing that the forest law was enforced in the borders, or purlieus, of the royal forests. Above them were the foresters in fee, then the warderers, then the justices in air. Their duties corresponded in some respects with that of a mounted forester. The term ranger seems to correspond to the medieval Latin word regadatos, which appeared in 1217. In the Charter of the Forest, regadatos was later rendered as rangers in the English translations of the Charter. However, others translate regadatos as regaders. For example, the fifth clause of the Charter of the Forest is commonly translated thus: Our regaders shall go through the forests, making the regard as it used to be made at the time of the first coronation of the aforesaid King Henry our grandfather, and not otherwise. A regard is considered to be an inspection of the forest. The earliest letters patent found mentioning the term refer to a commission of a ranger in 1341. Documents from 1455 state that England had all manner and singular offices of foresters and rangers of our said forests. One of the first appearances of ranger in literature is in Edmund Spenser's poem The Shepherd's Calendar from 1579. Walk not widely, as they were wont, for fear of rangers in the great hunt. The office of Ranger of Windsor Great Park appears to have been created in 1601. In North America, rangers served in the 17th through 18th century wars between colonists and Native American Indian tribes. Rangers were full-time soldiers employed by colonial governments to patrol between fixed frontier fortifications in reconnaissance, providing early warning of raids. During offensive operations, they acted as scouts and guides, locating villages and other targets for task forces drawn from the militia or other colonial troops. During the Revolutionary War, General George Washington ordered Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Knowlton to select an elite group of men for reconnaissance missions. This unit was known as Knowlton's Rangers, and was the first official ranger unit for the United States. Considered the historical parent of the modern-day Army Rangers, the word was resurrected by Americans in the 19th and 20th centuries from the old idioms used for the wardens, royally appointed, who patrolled the deer parks and hunting forests in England. There is much debate among scholars about which area was the world's first national park. So not surprisingly, there is little agreement about who was the first national park ranger. Some argue that Galen Clark was first when, on May 21, 1866, he became the first person formally appointed and paid to protect and administer Yosemite, thus become California's and the nation's first park ranger. Clark served as the guardian of Yosemite for 24 years. Others point to Harry Yount, who worked as a gamekeeper in Yellowstone National Park in 1880 to 1881. Prophetically, Yount recommended the appointment of a small, active, reliable police force, assist the superintendent of the park in enforcing laws, rules, and regulations. The first permanent appointment of rangers in a national park occurred on September 23, 1898, when Charles A. Leydug and Archie O. Leonard became forest rangers at Yosemite National Park. One of the earliest uses of the term ranger was on badges with the title, Forest Reserve Ranger, which were used from 1898 to 1906 by the U.S. Department of the Interior. These badges were presumably issued to rangers working in the national parks as well as those in the national forests, since both were known as forest rangers at that time. The term ranger was also applied to a reorganization of the fire warden force in the Adirondack Park after 1899 when fires burned 80,000 acres in the park. The name was taken from Rogers Rangers, a small force famous for their woodcraft that fought in the area during the Fr.